Errol Smart, the Managing Director and CEO of Orion Minerals.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to join you again, even though remotely. I'm in South Africa today, and I wish I could have been with you in Perth. This is the first ADU that we're missing, and it's a great event, and we're really sorry to miss it in person. Dennis Waddell, our chairman, is in the audience and will be available after the presentation at the break. And please look him up if you want to ask any questions about this. Harass him a little bit. He's feeling lonely out there in Australia while all the excitement is happening over in Africa. We'll take the disclaimer as read. Please do your own research and do your homework before investing. So Orion Metals is a green metals portfolio company. We've got a series of projects that are development ready, they're at advanced stage, and they've got enormous exploration upside. This comes at a time that the world is desperately seeking base metals, because it comes after decades of underinvestment in exploration and development in base metals, in particular copper, which is our primary focus. And we all know that the copper outlook on the market side is fantastic, and there just aren't enough development ready projects in the world. Orion recognized this opportunity more than 6 years ago, and we went on a search then at the bottom of the market. We started searching, and we identified the Northern Cape of South Africa as somewhere there where there was exceptional opportunity, because this used to be a major base metal production area. And with the passage of time, changing politics, changing macroeconomics, the Northern Cape now, although it is a major producer of zinc, does not produce any copper. And we see that as a major opportunity because the deposits there aren't mined out. They've hardly been scratched, to be quite honest. Although they have produced over 2 million tons of copper historically, there is still enormous opportunity. So we've got a portfolio of 4 project areas where we're focusing on. Most of it is copper, zinc, or nickel, copper, platinum deposits. And I'll take you through those in a little bit more detail in a short while. And then, of course, in Australia, in the Fraser range, we do have a joint venture with IGO, who are about to start drilling in a number of days. We will now be drilling at the Hook projects. And those are projects where IGO drilled nickel sulfides. It is very close by and on trend from the Mawson discovery, Legends Mawson discovery. Unfortunately, it's taken 2 years to get native title and access in hand so that a follow-up drilling program can be done. We've been informed by our partners IGO that is now in hand and drilling is about to begin. So Orion at the moment is about 4.3 billion shares on issue, trading just short of 3 cents per share, $125 million market cap. Our largest shareholder is Tembo Capital, with just short of 24% in the company. The Delphi Group is a large German investor private equity fund with just over 13%. IGO, who I was speaking about a moment ago, are shareholders in the company as well. And we have a technical association and forum that we discuss things with them. And our chairman, Dennis Waddell, is Tani Holdings, who are also a fairly large shareholder. Our board, an international board of industry professionals. These are people that have led companies from the BHPs of the world, Anglo-Americans of the world, and multiple junior mining companies. Most importantly, we know how to operate in Africa and specifically in South Africa. We have got the flag. We now know, and we thought we knew 5 years ago, and that's why we were prepared to come to South Africa, and we have demonstrated that we do know how to operate effectively in South Africa, and that opens a world of opportunity to a junior mining company like Orion. Our 2 project areas are about 450 kilometers apart. As I said, in the Northern Cape province of South Africa. The Northern Cape province is a desert province, very, very low population density. Although these 2 projects are 450 kilometers apart, there is nothing in between. We are essentially nearest neighbors from a mining perspective. And there's a lot of synergy between the 2 project areas where we're working. All of the Northern Cape historically was held by the large mining houses in South Africa. And up until the late 1980s and early 1990s, all of this ground was not available to junior exploration. And you will recall that in the 1980s, two things were happening. The metal prices were at an all-time low, and South Africa was at an all-time low. It was the peak of the apartheid era, and just before the fall of the apartheid era, South Africa was seeing the effects of sanctions and disinvestment. There was a major disincentive to explore and to develop new mines. So a lot of deposits were discovered, but not drilled out, and the potential of these deposits weren't properly explored. And that's where our opportunity lies. Brownfields exploration around large mines that can be fast-tracked, and then a completely untapped greenfields exploration opportunity, because nobody has ever applied the new modern exploration techniques that are commonly used for base metals around the world. Our president in South Africa has recognized the importance of mining and the role it will play in a post-pandemic resurgence. And he is speaking to cabinet again today, and we believe there will be further discussion of special incentives for mining and how to make sure that mining can play its role in the redevelopment of South Africa. When we came to South Africa, we said that if we come, we have to do things differently. We couldn't do things the way that they had been done for previous decades, because that was not a recipe for success. Fortunately, the mining industry in South Africa has been on a track to fast change and is playing a significant role in transformation of our society in South Africa, and is playing a significant role in the economic development of the country. We do have, in line with the Mining Charter of South Africa, which is a regulatory charter, we have Black economic empowerment, where we have 20% entrepreneurs, 5% of our projects are owned by our staff, and 5% are owned by our communities. We've got a very community-focused and stakeholder-focused business model. It is a capital investment as much as drilling a drill hole is we invest in our community focus. We apply international best practice in our environmental progress. And all of this was recognized by AMEG, the Australia Africa Mining Exploration Group, where we won the award in 2020 as the junior mining leader of ESG in Africa. I, for my sins, am the MD and the CEO of Orion, and I am also chairman of the junior leadership group of the Minerals Council of South Africa. And I represent over 270 junior miners and are actively engaged in renegotiating mining regulations and the environment, the working environment that we operate in South Africa. That places Orion in a great leadership position, and it also gives us insight into developments that are on the horizon in the regulatory environment. Very much our program is around green power, a green footprint, water management, water security. We are very fortunate that the Northern Cape is very blessed with both solar and wind, and has become the development hub for solar and wind. Our Prieska site already has 175 megawatts of solar power operating on our mining right area. We also have a large wind project that is just busy being commissioned this month, 200 megawatts of wind power. And we will be looking at a bespoke development project. And one of the interesting things at the moment is Prieska has been identified by a large investment group that are working with European funding, and has been recognized on the State President's Infrastructure Development Forum, and also the Northern Cape Premier's development infrastructure development program. And Prieska is set to become a large green hydrogen manufacturing and operation site. Orion is perfectly placed to benefit from this hydrogen economy that will be produced on our doorstep, on our mine doorstep. Using solar, wind, and hydrogen power, we have the opportunity to be completely off-grid and green going forward. And as a result of that, our Prieska mine is set to become a carbon neutral copper zinc producer 4 years after startup. That's a fantastic position to be in, and it's a very sought after position to be in. The mines that we are building and the mines that we intend to build are not the old legacy mines of South Africa that are labor intensive, that are unhealthy, unsafe, and not satisfactory work environments. We are building 4 IR mines that will be mechanized, automated, and most of the people will not even report underground on a daily basis. Only maintenance staff and critical staff will be required to go underground at all. The old Prieska mine used to put 3,000 people a day underground. We are never likely to put more than 10% of that underground on a daily basis. So the Prieska project, which is our flagship, we have spent 5 years drilling up a globally significant resource, over 30 million tons at 1.2% copper and 3.7% zinc. We've done a bankable feasibility study, which has been upgraded to a definitive basis. Peak funding requirement of about $413 million. This project will produce $1.6 billion per annum of free cash flow. That's a pre-tax number. Post-tax, it's 1.2 billion, and it's got a project NPV at an 8% discount rate of $552 million. The project is fully permitted and build ready. This is one of the few large-scale copper projects in the world that you could physically break ground tomorrow and be in development. It is mining the flat dipping ore that is the extension of what was mined as a steeply dipping ore body. This is a synclinal feature over here. It's been mined over 2.4 kilometers of strike, continuous, uninterrupted mining. There are only 2 small faults on the entire ore body. This is a massive slab of VMS ore. It is an exceptional geological wonder, and it remains open, both on strike on either side of this ore body and on dip coming up, dip on this limb of the syncline. And we have actually discovered a new subparallel ore body in the footwall of the main one that is showing the same grades, very good thicknesses, and very attractive opportunity for upside. This mine, we believe, will be operating for 20 years. We've done a bankable feasibility study on the first 12 years, and it is build ready. It will be in production 36 months after decision to mine. And at the moment, we are busy working on the project financing, very intensely engaged with a number of banks and development finance agencies and equity investors. And also, quite interestingly, with streamers, because there's a very small byproduct of gold and silver that goes with the copper. And we've got a very interesting discussion happening with a large streaming group who are prepared to provide a large chunk of the financing for this project in return for the gold and silver on this project. So that is a very interesting and an active development underway at the moment. You can imagine it's taken some time, a lot of frustration, because we are dealing with 6 banking groups, we're dealing with streamers, we're dealing with equity investors. All of this needs to be dovetailed. It's a very complex negotiation, but it is progressing very nicely, and I think we'd be looking at getting to final documentation in the next quarter. And then our second project is 450 kilometers to the west of the Prieska project. This is a project where, again, it's produced 2 million tons of copper. It was previously owned by Newmont and Goldfields. It used to produce 30 to 40,000 tons of copper per annum for decades. It continued to produce that. Unfortunately, in the 1980s, we went through that period of copper being at an all-time low, South Africa at the all-time low. So again, the same history as Prieska, and Goldfields decided to exit. It was sold to Metrix, who took the opportunity of stripping their assets. They relocated most of the mining assets, most of the mining expertise and the engineering expertise to Ruwashi, and on the back of that built a very successful copper mining business up on the copper belt in Africa. that left the Springbok OKIEP district basically isolated. It was orphaned, and that's where the opportunity lies. Again, for 30 years, nobody has looked at this seriously and done exploration. When we came in, we were astounded by the exploration opportunity. We have taken only 20% of what was previously in Goldfields as resource, and that has not been mined, and we have validated it. This is only 20% of what was previously in a resource with Goldfields. And we've taken that through a scoping study, and we've demonstrated that there's very strong economics of it. And ultimately, we believe that we can re-achieve the kind of production profile that was achieved for 4 or 5 decades, producing over 20,000 tons per annum of copper from this district. This district has got dozens of known copper deposits that have not been drilled out. The opportunity to simply continue drilling on known discoveries is huge. The infrastructure is in place. This is a brownfields mining opportunity, and we've demonstrated now via a scoping study that these projects, with the grade that they've got, the state of the mining area, the rock mechanics, all of those things, we can operate economically here, and we can do some really interesting work on expanding the known resource, and then looking at greenfields exploration, because the old timers, Goldfields and Newmont before them, did not look for blind deposits, or certainly did not look for blind deposits more than a few hundred meters below surface. We believe that modern exploration technology can really open up this district, and our understanding of the structure. We've put a lot of work in structural understanding and also looking at modern geophysics. We think that there's an opportunity here to discover as much as what's been discovered in the past. Just on our scoping study that I mentioned earlier, we've already done the scoping study, extracting about 9 million tons of ore over a 12-year period. A capital requirement, very modest, only 58 million Australian dollar capital requirement. It can produce copper at $2 a pound. And that will give us an NPV just on the small pilot project. And this is only the small pilot project. It's not our main prize. It's not what we're trying to achieve. This is $114 million NPV with an all-in sustaining margin of 40%. So this, for us, is a fantastic opportunity. We are busy exercising our option. We're busy getting regulatory approval for transfer of ownership. And we've got a team on the ground exploring at the moment. We are busy unpacking historical data. We managed to buy all of Newmont and Goldfields as historic data. We're busy digitizing it, analyzing it, and it's unlocking immense opportunity. This is the Carolsberg mine in this area over here. This mine has already produced 38 million tons of copper ore. It has been a fantastic producer, but this whole strike over here is still full of opportunity. And elsewhere in the district, where you've had large deposits above this marker horizon, the Springbok quartzite horizon, there's always been high-grade mineralization in the footwall contact of the Springbok quartzite as well. It has never been tested at this particular mine. Huge opportunity to go. We have also flown the first high-powered EM. In fact, the first EM study ever flown in this district. We've just completed flying this in the last week, and we are immediately picking some very high priority targets. You know, from a geophysical perspective, this is a dream for exploration. We've got intrusive ore bodies that are magnetite rich, so they give us a nice magnetic signal. The highest grade ore bodies have always got pyrrhotite with them, so that gives us an electromagnetic signal. And the actual intrusive bodies are relatively low in K feldspar relative to the surrounding granites, and that gives us a strong contrast for radiometrics. So you've got 3 geophysical tools that allow you to really map out your best opportunities on surface. And with that, we really think that we're going to be able to unlock a whole lot of opportunity very quickly. We're busy analyzing that data at the moment, and there'll be news on that shortly. Just getting back to the AREACHAP though, I just want to remind you, we also have a large copper exploration opportunity in the northern area here at Boksburg, where we're currently busy drilling a very interesting copper gold occurrence. We also have a large nickel copper platinum complex in this area over here, where we do have resource already. And strangely enough, all the drilling was done 200 meters and below surface. We are now drilling up the 200 meters to surface to look at the open pit mining opportunity. So all of this drilling has been done. A large area has been tested, almost 3 kilometers have got a couple of holes in it. The one central area has got a high density of holes, but the upper area has got almost no holes into it. When we started drilling, we immediately discovered high grade ore close to surface. One of our first holes gave us 31 meters at 0.72 nickel and 0.35 copper, very significant cobalt and platinum and gold credits. So we have continued drilling out, and we are busy seeking to drill out a open pit target over here. The Boksburg copper gold project that I spoke about, we started drilling on a EM target to the south, got some really good intersections there, some very interesting stuff, including some relatively high grade. So it shows that the quality of sulfide mineralization that is present here, up to a meter at 2.38% copper, but zones of 5 meters at a time. So very interesting. This synform folds around to over here, traces around. We've got a very high conductive area over here, and we're busy drilling further holes into that. And then, of course, I just want to remind you again of our joint venture with IGO. We're just 8 kilometers from Mawson, on trend of the Mawson deposit. We have the Hook and Pike Eye. Those are joint ventures with IGO, and they are mobilizing to start drilling this month. Fantastic exploration opportunities, Orion, fantastic early development opportunities, and a world of development in the right metals at the right time. So a world of opportunity in Orion. We've got active programs in progress. We raised $25 million in February, March. We well financed up until March next year. And we've got a number of programs underway that are developing strong news flow for the coming 6 months. You can expect a whole lot of news rolling out of Orion. Most importantly is going to be around the Prieska financing, but then a lot of exploration work underway as well. So I look forward to keeping you informed. And next year at ADU, I think we're going to be a totally different company, actually in construction, and with even better projects displayed and demonstrated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.